Making lunch.
Every day I warm up, do the high stretch so that I could do the kicks and the low stance. The stretch and the stretch and the stretch. But you have to warm up, so we start out easy. Without him, there's no way I could do that. Now I do it every day, have to do it every day.
You know?
But you don't have to worry about this yet. Nobody does real kicks in real life. So you don't have to worry about that. Ren said if I ever beat him, he retires on the spot.
How long have you been doing Tai Chi?
24, 25 years.
Ren, how long have you been doing Tai Chi?
I trained Tai Chi, 25 years.
See, I've lost. Look.
But I mean, Lou,
He's got
maybe
me.
5 years. I think maybe 2002 November.
I can feel he has me. I don't really have a way out. Unless he told me well, how do I get out?
You know, he changed. No, elbow draw a little bit, this push, this hand push. Drop there. Yeah,
see.
It's
It's not where you think it would be as part of it. It's not intuitive. Unless you're a genius like he is.
He puts me. No, I know. I try pang. It's called pang. He's called I. He put a very hard time to do two way now. Pang hard. And change this.
Expression, all the schools have an expression, use it or lose it. You know, very easy to lose it.
This
went through way too much to get it.
Hey, welcome to the second annual Lou Reed Tai Chi Day. And this year it's going to be virtual. So I'm Lori Anderson. I'm here with a lot of people who are going to be speaking today about this incredible forum. We have Scott Richmond, who is one of the editors of The Art of the Straight Line, and Stefan Burwick, also an editor of the book, The Art of the Straight Line. And we have, of course, Master Ren here, and he is, who we've just seen in the video. We'll have our many guests coming and going, but for right now, you see Ramuncho, Mata, behind the hole there, yeah, and Tony Visconti, who will be speaking, and Eleanor Greenberg. So welcome to the second annual International Lou Reed Tai Chi Day. So Scott and Stefan, over to you to introduce yourselves and what we're doing today. Steph? Oh, can't hear you.
You're muted, Steph. You're muted, Steph.
Unmute.
Berwick. Hi, everybody. Yeah. Sorry about that. This is Stefan Berwick. I'm one of the editors of this upcoming wonderful book by Lou. My Tai Chi, The Art of the Straight Line. And we're here, though, to really celebrate Tai Chi Day, the Lou Reed International Tai Chi Day, which we had last year. Some of you may remember. Yep, look at the t-shirt Lori's wearing. We had a wonderful event at 2 locations last year, outdoors. Obviously, because of COVID, we couldn't do it this year. But we're happy to have everybody together from all over the world, and all of us and our special guests who have been featured, who are going to be featured in the book, to just talk about Tai Chi, talk about the style of Tai Chi that Lou did, which was Chen style Tai Chi as he learned from Master Ren Wang Yi, and to talk about what Tai Chi really is to all of us, and especially during this pandemic, how Tai Chi can help you and what it can really mean for you. So I'm really happy you're here. Thank you, guys.
Fantastic. And my name is Scott Richmond. I'm one of the editors on the book as well. And the book, really, the project started back in 2009 when Lou was alive, and he was commissioned to write a book on his love and appreciation for Tai Chi. And unfortunately, the project was never fully realized. And when Lou passed in 2013, myself, Lori, Stefan, Bob Curry, and Master Ren, we took it upon ourselves to try to look and to research and to help carry this book forward, because we knew Lou's love of Tai Chi was so strong. And we have spent the better part of the last 3 years interviewing over 85 people, friends of Lou's, to fill in a lot of the gaps, to take Lou's original writing and original materials. And we are assembling what will be just a tremendous book about Tai Chi, Lou's appreciation for Tai Chi, and hopefully everyone else will appreciate it as much as he did and we all do. And our teacher is here, Master Ren Wang Yi.
Let's look at a little of last year's celebration, which was in Brooklyn. And we have a few images from that. We did some concerts. We did a series of teachings by Master Ren at the Brooklyn Public Library. Steph, maybe you talk about a few of the other groups that we invited to participate in that day.
Yeah, well, we had the help. We partnered with the person who runs the World Tai Chi Day in Central Park every year, Warrington Hudlin, and he pulled together a bunch of different groups across New York City, the New York area really, who practice Chen Tai Chi, and also some folks who practice other styles of Tai Chi. And we had a group of senior citizens who were doing wonderful Chen Tai Chi. We had a top young competitor who performed very powerful Shinja or New Frame Chen style Tai Chi. And we brought all these folks together who were never brought together before to celebrate this day. And as you see from the pictures, right now that picture is Lou teaching silk reeling, which is a foundational training in Chen Tai Chi. And of Ren. And here he is performing at the evening concert event. And it was great what we did. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and we had a big concert in the band shell with a lot of musicians, and Hal Milner was also a big part of that event. Maybe we could look at, there was a little clip from this morning in Central Park where Master Ren is running is teaching the classes. I think he has a little introduction of the day to the class. If we can look at that for a second, and then we'll turn it over to Master Ren. So of course, everyone's wearing masks, and
and this was just today, everybody, right? This just happened.
A couple hours ago.
Yep. It's a very, very good second year. And this, we are still do this.
Second year.
Yeah, last time we had to Brooklyn, very big party, but this year different. And this is very good.
Okay, no! Wow, Tai Chi! Tai Chi! Okay. So, Master Ren, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Yeah. How is it practicing in the park now? What advice do you have to students now who?
Me?
Yeah.
We are now from March, stop class, and some 4 months at least, for 5 months, and we are now open after July 4, and second week we are now start from the park, and indoor we are not can do now, and some students come back, some students still vacation, I think. we are very happy, and Leeds help a lot. Leeds find some Central Park spot, and it's very, very good. And we are start, and it's outside, and see later what day we are going indoor, but now it's not yet. And we are very happy, and it's even me, I practice in Central Park for students together. I'm feeling more, everything feeling normal, feeling much better. Before I feeling, oh, what happened in the war? The war almost luck, almost different war. Now I'm feeling normal, but still the way I need to cover mouth is a big deal help. And we are now almost not touch and only say hello. And it's not very far, maybe 3 feet, sometimes 5 feet in the outdoor, but easy and make a big room. Everybody very enjoy, and this you see today, and I'm very happy this second year and make a Lou Reed Tai Chi Day, and 4th year we are make very big from Brooklyn, and it's very, very, very special, very, very cool. And I know Laurie, you want this year do big one, and after March, over have simple problem, and we are now this year do internet. It's very, very cool. I like. And next year, in our free time, we are going to make another big party. And from the 3rd year, the Lou Reed Tai Chi Day.
I think we have a lot of international guests too. Scott, you were just looking at the number of people who are joining us.
Yeah, we have
From
folks
where?
from, oh my goodness, from everywhere, from Venezuela, from Brazil, from Warsaw, from Germany, from Genoa, Italy, from New York, Ohio, Los Angeles, San Francisco, everywhere, 4 corners of the earth.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's one of the advantages of the moment is everyone.
And Jersey, someone just said, and Jersey.
Oh, don't forget Jersey.
You know Linda B.
Okay, yeah, Jersey girl.
Bangor,
So
Maine.
Bangor, yeah. We're also missing one of the editors of the book today who couldn't make it, but Bob Curry. Maybe he's listening in from Iceland. I hope so. If you want to pop in at any time, Curry, just please do. But we're very excited about this this project that we've been doing for a few years now, called My Tai Chi, the Art of the Straight Line, and it's been so inspiring to talk to so many people about their different approaches to Tai Chi. And it's just really across the board. So we wanted to start with Tony Visconti. And I think before Tony pops on, Jason, I think you have a picture of Tony a couple hours ago practicing in the park. I know he's on his roof in West Village, practicing all the time. He's a real dedicated student. Here he is.
Okay. Hi, Lou. You keep me warm.
Tony!
Hello.
Okay, so let's welcome Tony Visconti to the table here. Do we have a picture of Tony?
I have to stop my video. Hold on.
Okay, good.
Hi, Tony.
There he is. Hi, Tony.
Hi. How are you doing? Hello, Lori.
Good. How is it practicing these days for you?
I love it. You know, since the city has been in lockdown, when it started to go into lockdown, I had a mild case of COVID, and I stayed in bed for about a week. And then as soon as I felt good, I went back on that roof. And to do Tai Chi in the fresh air is the road to recovery. It was the road of recovery for me. And I'm up on that roof almost every day of the week. I mean, it really has to be something extraordinary that keeps me off the roof on a daily basis.
In the snow?
Well, no, in the snow, well, they usually clean the roof off with shovels and all that. And, but I have a whole bunch of winter clothes I do Tai Chi in as well with 2 pairs of gloves. And I'll go out there. It's really great. I mean, if it's really serious, then I'll do it in my living room, which is big enough to do the longest of forms. You know, I got that apartment in the West Village. I made sure I can do Tai Chi in the apartment before I bought it.
Wow. Yeah, doing that on the roof is the best. Steph Scott, what were some of the highlights of the interview that we did with Tony for you? Because you said some amazing things for the book that maybe you want to refer to at the moment.
I mean, what stood out for me, and it's something that I've always known about Tony, but hearing him encapsulate it for our book is just Tony's history and wisdom about Tai Chi. Everybody knows Tony as this esteemed, rock music producer, but he is a long time Tai Chi practitioner, martial arts adherent, expert. I mean, Tony really knows this stuff with especially with Chinese martial arts, and so that really pulled it together. And I've known Tony for years, but that stood out a lot. So it just goes to show Tony's a good example of the kind of people that we highlight. People who you wouldn't think have such depth and interest and get so much benefit from Tai Chi, but they're out there. And Tony's a good example of that. Great example.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Tony, I would love it if you can kind of illustrate for our viewers what it was like studying with Lou in our Sunday morning classes in New York City or Tuesday night classes, and some of your remembrances.
I remember that I knew Lou from way back in the, I think, 70s. That's when I first met him, when he was making Transformer. And I've seen him on and off since then. And but the big turnaround was when my dear friend David Bowie said, you might want to talk to Lou. He's studying Tai Chi. And I went, oh, that's fantastic. I would really like that. So within a day or two, I got an email from Lou, or probably a phone call. And he said he's studying with Master Ren Guan Yi. And he said, I'll do it in Lou's voice. He's the real deal. So I said, okay, I got to meet this guy. And I think about maybe a week later, I went to my first class, which is probably sometime in March 2004, I think, or it could be 2003. It's been so long ago, but I've been studying with Master Ren almost since then. And Lou and I, were Tai Chi brothers, and we were brothers in music and a few other things. And it was just natural that we practiced together on and off, privately. And also in class, we would stand next to each other and do the forms together, do some push hands and whatever. So no, Lou and I are definitely Tai Chi brothers, for sure.
Beautiful. And Tony, what I do remember very well is both you and Lou were also great instructors and teachers as well. You helped a lot of the young, when I was a beginner and many of the beginners, Master Ren asked you to help us. And I really appreciate that.
Well, I have to thank Master Ren for that, because the only way you learn Tai Chi yourself is to teach it to other people. Then you know what you lack in information. And it helps you when you teach others, you work on yourself at the same time. Lou and I did quite a bit of it. And I remember when I would, a lot of my Tai Chi lessons were interrupted because I'd have to go abroad to work. My profession as a record producer. So I'm very happy I learned the 21 form, because that was so good when I did stay in hotel rooms. I would only manage to do the 21 form. There was no space to do anything else. But on another occasion, when I would come back, I might have missed maybe six weeks of the spear form. And Lou would patiently take me into another room at 44 Lafayette Street and teach me all the moves that I missed while I was away working. And I couldn't be thankful enough to him for that. I mean, he could have been in the class with everyone else practicing, but he would take me out of the room for as much as half an hour and show me the moves that I had missed. So I was always grateful to him for that. This is the way brothers treat each other and should treat each other.
He was absolutely generous.
I watch your hands, and they remind me so much of Lou's. And maybe it's because you're both such great, players and musicians, but there's something so relaxed about both of and also full of power. So I thank you for this all of those moves when you really embody what I think of as Tai Chi, you know, this amazing way as a musician too. So anything else you'd like to say, Tony, about your thoughts about practicing now, or Lou or Master Ren?
Well, thank you for saying that about our hands. We are musicians, and you know, our hands are a very, very important part of our lives. I'm sure other people's occupations too, but for musicians, you can't afford to break anything or hurt anything. So I've learned how to protect my hands in doing Tai Chi, and I think Lou did as well. But Master Ren used to do these painful China. I don't know if you've been at the other end of a Master Ren China, but it is excruciating. I mean, it's like that, you know. And I learned to go with the flow. I learned how to protect myself. You know, I could give a little bit in my body, and I wanted to feel the strength. I wanted to feel the power. So I knew Master Ren was too good. He wouldn't hurt me. I knew that. But boy, it almost felt like he would. And when I got up to that, when I got up to that moment, I would learn to just maybe move my body a little bit, turn my waist, and I could take the pain off myself. But you know, and the other thing Lou had in common with myself is we were both kind of monkey see, monkey do kind of guys. Like all I do is imitate Master Ren. I try to keep a picture of him in my mind. What would Master Ren do? And when I do my form, I try to remember how he does the form. So I'm always copying him. And I know I'm not perfect because that's why I'm going back to classes again, because he spots the slightest mistake, you know, and does beautiful corrections. So, but anyway, I mean, Lou would tell you the same thing. We think we're doing what Master Ren does, and then he shows us that we're not quite doing the same thing.
In our last 2 minutes, Steph, do you have a question from the audience?
Yeah. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, Tony, there's one question that's standing out from the audience, and it's from Alex Byron. I don't know where Alex is writing from, but he wants to know, how do you incorporate the benefits of your Tai Chi practice into just your studio production, into your work? And you alluded to that a little bit. How would you answer that?
Well, I think the big mistake everyone makes in life is to react to a situation and, you know, and like bounce off each other. You know, if in an argument and any kind of conflict, people react. Whereas Tai Chi has, and I've learned this from my first teacher, Dr. Gordon Kells, when I studied the Yang style, is to respond to it, to absorb it, and then find the best way to answer. In other words, Tai Chi makes me think first before I react. And as you know, like artists can be very, very temperamental. And in a time in the studio when they're like having a hissy fit or they're having a breakdown, I have to be the one who's not doing that. I have to be very calm. And, you know, I think we could all agree that Tai Chi makes us very calm people. You know, it's something, at least something we work at doing, because you cannot do Tai Chi unless you're relaxed. You can't do it. You can't perform it unless you're relaxed and calm. So that's what I bring into my musical life.
Thank you so much, Tony. It's been just great. Thanks for joining us. Back to your roof. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Our next guest is, speaking of protecting yourself and the body, is someone who's really wonderful ways to do that both Lou and Master Ren worked with her on various things. So Yamano, are you able to join us? I think you're somewhere, hopefully, and coming in. Maybe Scott.
While we're waiting while we're waiting for Yamana, we have almost 400 people who are chatting right now along with us on our YouTube live video, representing everywhere from Berlin to Minnesota. Hello, Jose Figueroa. Milan, Italy. Padova, Paolo. Oh my goodness. New York City. It's just kind of amazing how how far we are reaching. Portugal, Santa Cruz. There's Jean in Santa Cruz. Buenos Aires, Katrin. So what's nice is using this medium to connect to everybody. It makes the world a little smaller, and certainly our world a little smaller, which is wonderful.
And Scott, you know, we have a comment from someone, from Fernando Mendez, and it's kind of a common question, but he says rock music is about retaining power and then releasing it, and resembles a lot of people practicing Tai Chi. And he goes, "How do you great people agree?" Of course we agree. That's wonderful. I don't know where Fernando's was writing in from, but definitely want to highlight that.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for Yamana, maybe I was going to say, maybe what we can do is let's bring in Eleanor, because I see Eleanor Greenberg is on, and then we can bring Yamana after that.
Okay, sounds good.
Things pacing. Eleanor?
Yes, I started my video. Well, let me start my video again.
Start your video again.
Can you guys?
Hi, Eleanor.
Hey, Eleanor.
Hello, it's good to see you. I've missed you all.
Yeah.
What I wanted to talk about today was the—
Eleanor, before you start, can you introduce yourself, please? Let us know.
Okay, I'm so excited to be here to see you all. I've missed you so much, Grandmaster Ren. I expected to be back in New York. I'm Eleanor Greenberg. I'm a psychologist. I train therapists. I'm a Gestalt therapist trainer in personality disorders, borderline narcissistic and schizoid disorders, and people who are in relationships with them. And I also see people with other difficulties that I might enjoy seeing and they might find me useful. And in the process, it's been amazing, the impact of Tai Chi on the impact of COVID. Not the COVID, I didn't catch the disease, the virus, but I don't know how it has been for other people, but I've been alone with my husband now since March. Normally, we're in and out of each other's lives. My clients have been home with their mates, the ones lucky enough to have mates, and they're fighting like crazy. It's a new thing to disagree about. How do we handle COVID? Do we wear masks? What type of a mask? Can we go out to eat? Do we have people in? It's a never-ending discussion that has no final answer. And people are going to bed angry. And they're calling me more often, and they have more disputes about everything because they're anxious. And this is where I'm very, very grateful to Grandmaster Ren and for Dr. Daniel Richmond, Scott's brother, who introduced us, because when I started Tai Chi, it was for pain in my body. I couldn't stand upright when I first saw Dr. Richmond. And after a year of regular physical therapy, I still didn't feel strong. I felt very vulnerable. And I asked Dan, what could I do better? And he dramatically dropped into a beautiful low Tai Chi pose and said, you can do as I do and study with Master Ren Kuan Yi. And so I did, and my back got better and my knee started improving and I started walking more fluidly. However, a very unexpected thing happened. For 5 years, my husband boringly watched me do Tai Chi. He had zero interest in it. He started to, and Master Ren knows this, he was very gracious to teach both of us. And we were in different places. We had different rhythms. We had different styles of being. And Master Ren had to adapt to teaching the two of us and bringing us somehow into agreement with each other. Well, finally, we found that we started a practice together in the morning of Tai Chi. Very, very simple. First, we started with silk reeling because my husband could do silk reeling in the beginning. Then we added 19 form. And he didn't want to add any other forms. He said it was hard enough to learn those forms. We would just practice them together. And we've worked up to an hour. And one of the surprises has been that it coordinates our energies in the morning. We can have a disagreement the night before, but if you're getting up, as Tony Visconti said, to do Tai Chi together, you're going to have to relax. And in that relaxed state, you're going to coordinate with the other person. You're going to be doing these steps together as best you can. By the end of the hour, we're much more coordinated. We're much more at peace inside ourselves and with each other. So I thought, oh, this could really work for my clients. And so I started suggesting to them, because they are very uncoordinated with their mate, most of them at this point in time, which is why they contacted me, even though I'm not a couple therapist. Some of them are sleeping in different rooms from their mate. Some of them have been asked to move out. That's about as far as uncoordinated together your energies you can get. When I get them doing just a little bit of Tai Chi, just some simple moves, they don't have to know the form, just coordinate together, raising your hands and lowering them. Anything simple. I have them look for YouTube videos that have been put. Exactly. And people started to feel better. They started to feel better about each other. They found that there were 4 things people described that got themselves in sync with each other. One was sex. Well, a lot of them aren't even talking to each other, so sex is out the window. The other thing was eating together. Well, eating together isn't that much fun anymore. You've got all your kids at home. People are cleaning up, making messes. Watching.
We lost Eleanor. There we go.
Did you lose me? Okay.
You're good.
So one thing they all can do is they can do Tai Chi together. I don't care if it's 10 minutes, 2 minutes, or an hour, or all day. They can do that, and they can re-sync with each other, and then they can go back to their separate spaces if they're hating each other at this moment. But I guarantee you, they will hate each other a little less after an hour of Tai Chi.
Eleanor, thanks so much for pointing out that it really is a meditation as well. On the back of the shirt that is this year's shirt, we have a really beautiful piece of, is that forwards or backwards?
This is wonderful. It's perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to read it out loud, or do you think of it?
Yeah, maybe Eleanor, you could read that.
C'est mieux d'enregistrer là.
The center of your body. Oh, you have someone on now?
Quoi?
Go ahead.
Hi.
The center of your body, the center of your heart. I have to see it in the center stage to read it, unfortunately. Can't see it, it's too far away.
Oh, okay.
You read it,
center
Laura.
of your body, the center of your heart, the center of your spirit, your mind, your essence. Empty your mind and listen to the center of your body, the center of creation. And this was a meditation that Lou wrote for himself and now for his friends. So that's on the back. Yamana has joined us.
Hi.
But anyway, Eleanor, thank you so much for that amazing story about how to get along with your partner in COVID. Do Tai Chi. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining us. And hello to Yamana, you're here. And before we were just talking to you about, talking about you, saying how dependent Lou was on you for ways to think of how to keep his body, keep injury away from his practice. So first of all, welcome, and where are you?
I'm in Pennsylvania teaching a breath training. And besides that, I have a breath practice for myself every day. I did an 80-day free breath classes on Instagram and Facebook for people during the whole quarantine, because I realized like people needed to breathe and people needed to, people were so stressed. And what was amazing was that I realized how many people had, people wrote and said that they were, their anxiety went away, their depression went away, their hip problem went away. And I just kept getting these testimonials. So I just kept wanting to do it. Finally, one day I said to Yael, I said, go, how many days should I do this for? We're at 70. And she looked at me and I said, how about 80? So we did 80. So now I'm teaching a training because people fell in love with it. How do you give people this? But my relationship with Lou was actually pretty special for me. And I hope it was for him. Lori and Lou sort of walked into my studio, and it was in the same neighborhood as they live, and hardly anyone was curious in the neighborhood, and they were. And it was so nice to have them come. And then Lou started really coming, and he always used the work in relationship to his Tai Chi practice. And so using the balls would make him more flexible, would make him, just easier and better. And he would say his movements were better, his practice was better. And then he got Master Ren into the balls. And so they were using the balls and then we did, some, I taught him how to work his feet because there's the balls.
They're never far away. They're always like right over there because Lou never traveled without these and without thinking of what you told him to do. Can you tell us a little bit about these magic things?
So the thing about the black balls, particularly when you're on the road, is that you could be on an airplane and you could be working down your legs and you could be working up your spine, and you can, and there's really nothing that once you know how to use them that you can't work out of your body. And just sitting with them in your back, you start to relax, you start to feel, and they give you feedback. So wherever you put them, you immediately go to that point and you breathe to that point and you realize like, oh, this feels good. And and so Lou really loved that work. And one of the things that I noticed from working, because I'm also a body worker, was that the amount of incredible vitality that he had in his body, even when he was going through, all the things the health issues that he was struggling with, there was still this incredible life force. And I would say you just have to always do this Tai Chi because you have a powerful energy going through you that I don't think doctors would understand in the first place. But the fact is, you've got this. And you can't let go of this because this is what sustains you. It's what nourishes you. And I think that he felt like I got it, like I understood it. I understood him and that aspect of his life.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yamina, for our audience that's not familiar with you, they could find you on Facebook. You're giving live demonstrations usually every morning, it appears.
I'm trying to do things, as much as possible. Right now I'm doing the connection between hands and wrists to shoulders. And it's for men and women, but I find that so many women don't have strength in their hands and wrists and shoulders. And so I decided, you know what, we're going to do 10 days every morning at 9:00. And you just go to Yamina Body on either Instagram or on Facebook. And I'm just trying to offer things for people so that they can be proactive and positive at home.
That's fantastic.
I remember, if I could say one thing, I remember I remember we had organized a seminar for Master Ren in Washington, D.C., and Lou came to that seminar. He came to a couple of them out here. And Master Ren, I don't know if you remember this, but in between the different things, he took out the balls, I guess with a medium-sized one that he got from you, and he got on the floor by the door, and he would rub different parts of the body. And some of the seminar participants said, what is that? Is that like a Tai Chi thing? You know what I mean? Like, what is that? And he explained to a few people, no, not necessarily, but it's perfect with my Tai Chi training. And I never forgot that. So just to let you know.
It's so great that you do this thing about the connection between the hands and over to the shoulder, because one of the things that thrilled Lou the most about Tai Chi was being able to feel Chi pulling it down from wherever it comes from and moving it through his body and being able to do that. And that was, I think, maybe one of his biggest thrills is how to feel and control energy and to use it and you taught him so much about how to let it come through his body. And that was a hugely important thing for him to learn.
Oh yeah, he would after we did a session, he would like do stuff in the room and go like, you see what I could do with my energy? I could go right through you. And I'd be like, okay, okay. And
Yeah.
he could measure it. He could measure when his energy was more open and flowing.
Yamuna, when we talked to you a couple of years back, we interviewed you, you had said that Lou used to just drop off over to the studio and he would give you advice on business. And I always found that to be fascinating. Can you just share a little bit of that?
Sure. I mean, he basically said, nobody knows anything about what you're doing in this neighborhood. I speak to people and nobody knows. They don't even know you're here. And he said, why don't you start by putting big posters in the window, since you've got such big, beautiful windows. And so we did it. We listened to him. And he would give us advice on what to do, even about our dog. I mean, literally, you tell things to Lou every day. She has a dachshund. He would say, don't let that dachshund jump. Keep those hips, keep those hips. And so, all the different advices that he gave, I listened to. And turns out my daughter listens to him too.
That is wonderful. Yamuna, we want to thank you so much. I know you're in the middle of teaching a class right now, so we appreciate you taking a break to talk to our group. Thank you.
It's a total honor. And I love Lou and Miss Lori.
Yeah.
And Master Ren.
Yeah, Master Ren. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Yamuna.
Bye. So our next guest is going to be Ramon Chamata, and I think he's coming to a hole somewhere in the south of France. Ramuncho, if you're there he is.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you really well. Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you, because Lori, you're really, in all my story, you're one of the key that opened many doors. And one of the doors was a song you wrote about the bullet and the hole.
Oh.
You remember that song?
Yeah, I do.
So I felt very often in my life like a hole, like an emptiness, a big emptiness. So when I was 12 years old, I had a brother called Gordon Matta Clark, and he offered me a record by Lou called Transformer. And the idea of transforming yourself, of being able to feel the whole, but not only feel it, not feel it, but feel it. And this emptiness, it's kind of a grace state. And I was very slow in my childhood. I was considered autistic. So they put me in very special classes where it was difficult to follow because I was so slow. But when I was 15, I have a new school, and the director of the school invited me to his office and say, Mr. Matta, to my office. And I say, okay. And he said, sit down. The door is open. You can leave if you want, I have the feeling that you prefer the street than the school. And you're right. Streets are very interesting because you learn to be streetwise. And that's one of the lessons of Lou, to being streetwise. The intelligence of the street is so important. And but he said, well, I offer you a deal. If you come to poetry lesson and to philosophy lesson, and if you go help a friend of mine that is really sick, is going to die soon, but if you do this street thing, I won't tell your parents that you're not going to school. And every year I will invite you to the next class. So I met the guy, and the old guy with cancer. His name was Brian Geisen, and he was a poet. and he had no child, and he was really happy to give information. So he wrote some lyrics. And when I was 16, really inspired by Lou, I did music to those lyrics. And if I have 2 minutes, I can try. I'm not a singer, I'm not a thing, but it's interesting because this song is called Somebody Special. And when I discovered Tai Chi, I put a little space, a little hole between the words, and you say somebody special. So it changed. So please forgive my bad English and the kind of a Lou copy song, but I was 16, you know, and I'm still am. I want somebody special, somebody special to live with, somebody special to look after me. I'd look after somebody, somebody special. If that somebody, somebody special looks after me, I got the hands and the heart to give with. I'm not all that hard to live with. Who can this somebody? Somebody special possibly be? Maybe this somebody, somebody special can only be me, me, me. And I really think
Thank you. That was just so beautiful from each other.
Thank you. But I really think Tai Chi give you that somebody special, you know, and it helps you to build yourself, you know. And so Lou was always with me with his music and his feeling, and maybe I met it a few times when I was hanging around with Brian or William Burroughs, but I really met him because of you, because you gave me a phone call one day in New York saying, well, I really think you should present your project to Lou. And then we become really close. And I discovered that Lou was born the same year of my brother Gordon, and he became my brother.
Yeah.
So you're kind of my sister. And I don't know how much time I have, but I don't, do you see this?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So, you know, in Tai Chi, we speak about the spiral, you know, and the infinite, and about finding a way to find a relationship with the stars and the sun and the other planets. And maybe this is the center we have in our body, you know? And the fact that we're trying to grab this bowl. You just spoke before about this bowl, etc. And this make you finally, as Lou was saying, Tai Chi can protect you. And finally, it's your home. And I think that's why I'm also one of the teaching from Lou.
Some of the most beautiful things in the book are your ideas of space and emptiness and the way you articulated it. I know how much Lou loved talking with you about that, and so I love the interview with you, which was so much about energy and light and what it really is. This image of the hole that you're talking about and how to fill that hole is, I think, something that was so central to Lou and why he did Tai Chi. It was right to the point. I mean, all of the mechanics are fascinating and interesting, but the song that you were talking about that I wrote a long time ago, it's not the bullet, it's the hole. Is about was written for an artist, Chris Burden, who was shooting himself all the time, you know, and just to, and he was always talking about the caliber of the bullet and what it meant in guns and this and that. And I was like, so I wrote a song for him called, I was getting sick of all the tech talk about it. So I said, it's not the bullet that kills you, it's the hole. So it was a kind of reggae song, but anyway, I think Lou never lost sight of the fact of why he was doing this. The center he's always talking about. And the other reason we put that on the center of your body, the center of creation, which was really where all that energy came from. What this was all about was that energy in the center of your body and of your diagram going out like that.
And it's important also because we spoke about also the fact to be, you know, to have strength, to be able to be here at a good moment. So we spoke about instinct, you know, because instinct that make us lucky maybe in life. But what comes before instinct, you know? And we spoke a lot with Lou about that, and it's intention, you know?
Intention.
And finally, as we know that life doesn't stop, the energy is still there, and the intention of Lou, it's still here, but it's really fragile, you know. It's like something like, you know, it's not in the screen, in its real life, and if you don't taking care of it, it can just disappear and leaves you. So every day, during this COVID period, Tai Chi helped me not to be too depressed and to also be able to still helping people that are really feeling lonely and without tools. And Lou teaches that music gives us courage and a lot of things, but Tai Chi, it's our home.
Thank you for making those beautiful paintings. Also, you did some really great paintings of Lou doing Tai Chi in the afterlife. And they're really intense paintings because you have all the points of energy and how he uses them in the another realm of time. So thank you very much for joining us.
You're really welcome.
Yeah, our Tai Chi brother from the south of France.
Yeah, take care.
Yes. Well,
bye.
Okay.
Thank you, Romancho.
Goodbye, Romancho. We didn't, Iggy, our last guest, was not able to join us today, so we did we talked to him a couple of days ago, so we're going to channel him in now, and what he was talking about was also a lot of things that people have been talking about today, which is when your body breaks, you know, what are you going to do and how do you handle that? And also, so I think we have a picture of Iggy in the water, don't we, that we could look at, because he when we were talking to him about the book, he was always talking about the the energy in water. Scott and Stefan, what do you remember about what Iggy was saying about that?
Yeah, I mean, Iggy, for those of you who don't know, Iggy Pop, he's a longtime Qigong practitioner, also does simplified Tai Chi, and he loves water. He feels water is super healing, does so much for the internal essence, for your internal energy. And he had a lot to say about the importance of just being in water, soaking in water, being around water. And there he is in water. And it was something that you'll read about in the book.
Yeah, and I think we're going to pick up our interview with Iggy. His instructor gave him a video when he first started to study Qigong, gave him a video, and that's where we're going to pick up the interview with Iggy.
And I learned about 2.5 minutes, and I still do the one thing every morning before I have a kind of curved spine and a short leg. So every morning before I do the Qigong, I do this one, you know, where it's just the opening.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you do it, you try to bend your legs and lower the body. And he pointed out to me, he said, as soon as you do that, your spine straightens. It has to.
Yeah.
I do that, just that thing 3 or 4 times before I start alone it's a great value to me. And I hear the little bones go, tick, 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 you know, because I'm special that way.
Lou had a few of his own names for things, and he called this move, he called that calming the ocean.
Is that what it's called?
Well, that's what Lou called it. He came up with his own names. Like another move he called carrying the pizza.
Oh, that's a good one.
It makes it easy for you to do that when you're how you're doing it.
Yeah. So he taught me those different moves and I had names, the bow and arrow and the horse and the turtle and all this. Nice to have some names. Yeah. Stand on one leg, I do a little. But I learned the routine, and I tried to remember this morning because I knew I was going to see it, but I couldn't remember. There's drop, knee, and push. I used to do that, and when I do that, same thing, click, 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 everything opens up, you know.
Do you do any of this in the water?
Well, you can't. I'll go into the water a lot and do movements that are derived from it, like this one, like a push hands.
Yeah.
And also walking backwards. He taught me how to walk backwards. And where I have my digs in the island, there's a lot of crabs. And you know, crabs can walk backwards just as good as forwards. It's amazing. And so I think, well, this is a healthy organism, you know? Right. So walking backwards, or I'll do things to stretch out the upper back, that sort of thing. The main thing I was taught over and over, he kept emphasizing to me with the Qigong, is it's happening internally, and it's all about you're breathing in universal energy through your nose, and you get it into that deep belly, and then blow out the trash through your mouth, is basically how he put it to me. And he would always say, you know, you see these like tiki gods they sell in Hawaii. He said that big belly, that's his key energy, his power. So that's what I try to do a lot. And I'm not much of a conscious spiritualist, but I think everybody is a pretty nice person when they feel good. And after,
Very good way to put it.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
I feel good after I do the stuff. You know.
Do you use any of those breathing techniques when you're performing, singing?
Yes, I do. What I do is there was also something he taught me called Wu Chi breathing, and that's an exercise. You lay on the floor on your back and do the same thing. You breathe. You try to clear your mind. Breathe deep into your diaphragm. Through the nose and out through your mouth. And I did that. I went to a class to learn that once. It was me and about 4 ladies. And about halfway, we were did that for about a half hour. And about halfway through it, the ladies all began moaning and sobbing, and I didn't. And he told me later, he said, that's because in what you do, you deal with your fears. So I thought it was pretty interesting. Obviously,
Yeah, no kidding.
He's a bright guy. He'd seen me work. And so I do that. If I'm going to do a gig, I do about 20 minutes of Qigong, and then I lay down and I do that Wu Chi, and it opens up the voice. By about 20 minutes in it, my little salivary glands are shooting saliva from the back of my yeah. I'm sorry to get so graphic, but they do. They get activated.
Yeah.
And I come out with a deeper baritone and a better high.
Wow.
Every time. So that's what the one thing I do, you know.
So it opens up the whole spectrum. That is.
It opens up.
Amazing.
That's the whole thing he was trying to help me do when I started learning this stuff is I was locked, and I couldn't walk more than 2 blocks down the street, and my hip joint was locked, and I did not want one of those horrible operations. I didn't feel like having, you know, galignite or whatever it is in my body, and you know, his advice to me was put off any operation as long as you can. And I think the inference was it's sort of like, I was thinking about it this morning, it's kind of like the fizz in a soda pop. Once they cut into you, once somebody has a reason you have a body to contain who you are, right?
That's a great way to put
once
it.
they get in you, whoosh, out goes the, yeah.
Wow.
So leave me alone.
Goes out of you.
Yeah. So I've been that way. That was 32 years ago, and I do all right, you know.
You know,
And I use a little Western medicine. I do a mix, you know, so I do use the anti-inflammatories and stuff, but not a lot, and I'm not so addicted to it. The first thing I did when I heard about this virus and kind of went, holy shit, I'm on the list. I said, well, let's see what happens if I go 5 days and just don't use it. And I was okay. I was a little creaky, you know, those drugs, which tend to, do you know what Spanx are?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Spanx, it's like Spanx, everybody. Spanx was a very popular lycra garment for women who wanted to appear slimmer.
Oh, Spanx, yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it puts Spanx on your body, and so it decreases inflammation, but it's also going to raise your blood pressure and give you digestive problems, all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, like compression socks and things like that.
That's right. Yeah. There's a price to pay.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes, definitely. Now you are, one of the things we thought about was, we spoke to you a couple of years ago, since that time, actually, you actually did the We Are the People song on your latest record. Just wondering what the response was to that. Create a little Lewism there.
Such a great piece.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's just that the piece is so great, and it was just came at the right time for me. The record it's on is one of those records. It's like I call it a show and tell record. It's not like I sat down to make an album, but one piece on there was a poem I did for an ad agency. All right. And another piece on there was a great song that was written by an artist I admired, and he wasn't going to get anywhere singing it, and he wanted to sell it to me. So I did that one, and on and on and on. And we had another thing I'd done for a short film, and along came this. I was like, I almost have an album, almost, you know. And then along came the book of poetry, and I opened it, of Lou's poetry, and I opened it. It was right there in the front.
It's so great. You read that. That's so great.
I just had a lot of emotion because it was, you know, it was just how things are, I think, and it still makes me angry, and I don't want to spend all the time being angry, you know, but that was what I saw. And I thought, well, I understand, I believe most of what he's saying.
Yeah, you do.
Of course, I had 42 years to catch up or whatever, 50 years really. And, I was surprised because when you're writing songs within the popular song genre, to a great extent, it's all about throwing out words, unless you're Bob Dylan, who's the only one who's good at like going on and on and on, and he's good at it. But so I'd always heard Lou express himself minimally.
Yeah.
And suddenly here is all this. I thought, wow, I didn't know he thought about that. Well,
Half a century ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was Iggy from a couple of days ago, and thanks so much. Check out his beautiful version of it. It's called "We Are the People," and you can it's right up on YouTube, and it's a really beautiful thing that seems like it was written earlier today as we're all heading off to the polls. It's a very, very deeply political work about what it means to be an American today, and it uses many of the images that we've been talking about for the last while. We have a couple more things to do before we close out, but Scott and Steph, where would you like to go at the moment?
Well, I mean, I would just want to thank everybody for being here. We really wanted to do something to commemorate Lou and his love of Tai Chi, and to just having a second of, which is an annual thing now, Lou Reed Tai Chi Day means the world to us. This is as much about our passion and love for Tai Chi, for Lou, for each other, than it is anything else. And I just hope that everybody out there who are watching can feel that and get that from us. So thank you all. Thank you.
And Lori, I wanted to thank you for just embracing this so much. Certainly over the last couple of years, it's just been a gift to all of us, and we appreciate it. And I know that we wanted to talk about a couple of our friends who are no longer with us, who worked with us on the first Lou Reed Tai Chi Days, as well as the book.
Yeah, the first interview we did was with Bill O'Connor.
Yes, Bill O'Connor was a fellow student, a friend of Lou's, and a student with Lou for over 20-something years. Passed away earlier this year, or actually late last year, since the last Lou Reed Tai Chi Day. And he was a fellow student of ours, studied with Master Ren, and was just a fountain of information and of philosophy. And Steph, you could probably talk a little more about this, both the Celtic form of martial arts.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about that. Bill O'Connor was one of the things I loved talking with Bill about was he was a master of an ancient, his own family form of Celtic martial art. He's a proud Irishman, and he used to talk about this. And what was cool about what Bill talked about was he would draw parallels between the old Irish, the old Celtic martial arts, and Tai Chi Chuan. And I found that endlessly fascinating. And he studied so many other types of martial art, mostly Chinese martial art, but he always kept his family martial art right there, kind of as a nucleus or a cornerstone. And it was really cool. Also
a great poet. We have many
books
that he did, and so articulate. The last year at the first Tai Chi Day, he gave just this wildly ranging kind of lecture, going from all over the place. It was really wonderful. So we're kind of dedicating this to Bill, and also to Lou's best friend, Hal Wilner, who last year, I think we have a picture of him playing in the show for Lou last year. Oh, with John Zorn, another good friend of Lou's. We did a show that was featuring the drones performed by Stuart Herwood, who's our drone meister. And next year we'll do some more with Stuart. but the concert was really great because it was all of the Master Ren's students, and of course Master Ren leading the way, and in front of the stage with this loose drone feedback music. I think we have also just a picture of the 21 form from today in the park, because as we said, that this was a form that Master Ren made for Lou so that he could do the form in tight spaces, because as a touring musician, he didn't always have the option of having a big studio. He sometimes had to go out and into the corridor and practice next to the elevator. So let's look at this from just this morning. We'll look at a minute or so of the 21 form and all of the dedicated students working in the park.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Master Ren, thank you so much for
This is very cool. I like
yeah.
it. First time for me, first time. Yeah.
Yeah. What a beautiful form.
That was the 21 form designed for people to use in small spaces. Right?
Perfect for COVID.
Yes, it is.
Perfect for COVID.
Stuck inside of you.
Do we have anyone, questions from the far-flung audience that we want to, or comments?
We've been getting a lot of interesting comments for sure. Like for instance, we just got one from Tai Chi fan K. I had feared that one of our COVID regrets was going to be missing the second International Tai Chi Day, but you've made this one as meaningful as the first. Thank you. That's great.
That's great. That's really great.
Someone,
I also want to thank, before you go on, Stefan, I want to thank Jason Stern, who's put this webinar together. He's behind the scenes doing all the video, and he's also the photo editor for the book, which is an enormous job of gathering all of these images that Master Ren shot. Master Ren is also a fantastic photographer. And there are many of his shots in the book, and there are shots of people practicing. There's pictures, portraits that Lou has done of many of the students, and self-portraits, and just things that show you the power of Tai Chi. So Steph, you were saying some other, one more thing. Bob Curry, who could not be with us today, is another of the editors who's been shaping the book. So hello, Curry, if you can, if you're tuning in, we really missed you. And so Steph, there was some other
no,
comments
thanks. Yeah, I'm just looking through some of these comments. Another one from Fernando Mendez. He says, Lou Reed didn't want to be, quote, erased. Well, this moment proves it would be an absolute impossibility.
That's
Oh my gosh. And someone else wrote in, this is directed to you, Laurie, from an Alex Byron. It says, Laurie, you've been a positive ray of light inspiration today. Thank you so much. Alex, that's great. And someone is a question from a Joshua Watkins. He says, is that sword behind Laurie the one from Lou's Poe album cover?
Oh, yeah. They're this one here.
That's yeah. I guess Joshua noticed that.
Oh,
that's a great question.
So heavy. This is so heavy. Yeah. So this is Julian Schnabel did a lot of really amazing images of Lou in a convertible with some swords, and this is one of the ones in the collection here, which really treasure, and it's really heavy. Anyway.
And a lot of those photographs will be featured in our forthcoming book.
Yes, we will.
That Julian took.
Yes. I'm just still looking at some others. Folks, of course, are talking about Iggy,
the book,
and about the book. Did you notice anything, Scott, that's standing out? I'm scrolling, looking at some more here. But here's another interesting one. I did write her back. This is from. I apologize if it's a guy. I read it as.
Oh, there it is. There's the image. Thank you, Jason. That's the image of
from a Dana Windward. Tai Chi and horseback riding is like the same thing because it like one with each other. It's like one with each other, real partnership, one with each other. So I think that comment came in when Eleanor was talking about how Tai Chi is so wonderful for couples. So that was really nice.
Me and my horse.
That's right.
It's nice. It's also nice to see in our chat a bunch of some of our interview subjects from the book. Davide de Blasio joined us, as did Jose Figueroa.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They both were wonderful contributors
Eugene?
to the book. Davide de Blasio, a wonderful friend of Lou's who practiced a lot with him and is doing a lot of serious Tai Chi now, as well as starting a big art center in Naples, and wonderful Tai Chi brother.
And Gene, Laurie, Gene from San Francisco.
Gene.
Wow. Okay.
Hi,
Gene has
Gene.
Hi, Gene Singh from Kung Fu Magazine, and also just a wonderful thinker and historian of Tai Chi. He has some really completely fascinating things in the book about the practice. And Steph, too, you're a historian as well and of course a movie star.
Oh boy.
Let's not forget that. We have a lot of really pretty, amazing images of Stefan Berwick, Western bad guy who can just do whatever you
We also have Bill Helm joined us.
Yes, from the Taoist Sanctuary in San Diego. Oh, nice. Big supporter, Bill Helm. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and it's just wonderful. We've got people from, as I said, all over the world who have tuned in for today's live video. Thank you.
And thank you most of all to Master Ren, who's joined us, who's the reason we're here, and we're just celebrating you and your practice, and that has touched so many people. So I think we're gonna just on that note say goodbye, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.